I just got done watching A24's newest film, Funny Pages, with an at-home screening, and I have some things I want to talk about for this film, guys. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Let's go. What's going on, you guys? The Demigod back on Demigod ENT, and down bring you another movie review for Funny Pages out of A24 Films. And before I go ahead and get into this review, I just want to say shout out to A24 Studios because I've never seen this done before. This is the very first time I've participated in anything like this. I was able to purchase a ticket online and watch it, on any of the compatible devices within a certain viewing window, and the tickets were actually limited too. I went back and looked at it. There was a sold out number, so I found that very interesting. I'm glad I got in. I seen that post on time. I was able to get the ticket and see the film so I can bring a movie review for all of you, and honestly I would love to see that being done more by other studios, so shout out to A24 Films for that opportunity. But without further ado, guys, let's just hop into the review. So Funny Pages stars Daniel Zolgadri, my bad if I'm butchering your name, playing Robert, a kid who just is about to graduate high school but is having these dreams and aspirations play out in his head. He's thinking about dropping out, getting his GED instead of taking the typical off to college route that his parents want him to follow. And so with this background for our character, he goes ahead, he leaves his parents' house, moves into this underground basement. Horrible living conditions in my personal opinion. It was very uncomfortable to watch, quite honestly. He's working at a comic book store, which is the perfect place for someone who's aspiring to be a comic book artist. And also he goes out to get a second job for a law firm, for a public defender that he actually ends up having to use earlier in the movie. And so as we can see, it's a kid who's just trying to make it out of high school, trying to follow his dreams, something we can all relate to. Hopefully we could all relate to. And I found that part of the story to be relatable, intriguing, interesting, and I thought, oh man, I'm very glad I clicked on this movie. I'm very glad I watched this movie. I can't wait to see where it takes us. And sadly, quite sadly, I don't feel like it took us anywhere interesting. I don't feel like this character had an interesting arc inside of this film. If you could find one, let me know down in the comment sections down below. But from this point on, the movie continues onward, and by the way, it's not that long. It's only an hour and a half. And as he's working at this law firm, he comes across this character named Wallace. Now, Wallace used to work as a color corrector for comic books, and he becomes sort of a mentor for our character Robert after Robert's first mentor, happened to suffer some unfortunate circumstances. And so that is where Wallace comes in. He's a bit of an odd character inside of this film. Very well acted, though, I will say. In fact, all of the acting inside of this movie is done pretty solidly, I'll say that. And for a low budget movie, which I'm not saying that in any bad ways, they did a very good with what they had. And this is a very down-to-earth story, so low budget fits this movie. It's super down-to-earth. I'm sure a lot of people will find this film relatable in a lot of different scenes here. And there's some very weird and strange, interesting characters that Robert happens to come across as he makes his way during his short life journey that this film showcases us. And so he continues seeking approval from these people that he idolizes in his life, these other artists who have done what he's trying to do, which is a good way to get yourself into any field, is seek out someone who's already done it and learn from them firsthand, so you don't have to make the same mistakes they did. But with all that being said, I don't feel like this movie takes us anywhere interesting. I mean, I feel like there was no point to the story, no point to me following this character. I really thought he was going to have some redemption story, at least make some leeway into the field that he's trying to be in, but he doesn't. And I don't want to go into any spoilers or anything. There's not much to spoil. There's one big explosive part of this movie at the very end of the movie, which, by the way, I felt like was a terrible payoff for this film. I really found myself asking, why did I watch this movie? By the time I was getting, to the third act and through the third act and to the end of the movie, man, I just felt like, honestly, like I wasted a lot of my time here. And like I said, man, it's well acted. The direction in here is fine. There's some interesting, acting and characters in here. Andy Milonakis makes an appearance in here, which I've seen him on TV when I was a kid, so it's very interesting after all these years to see him again. He always pops up somewhere, so shout out to Andy Milonakis. He has just a little cameo in the comic book store in this film. But yeah, man, I didn't like this movie. I really didn't. I didn't like anything it had to offer outside of, the initial setup for this film, which I felt like was very good. I felt like they didn't pay off on a great setup that they gave to us. I felt like by the end of this film, our character finds himself in a loop. He doesn't actually make any progress in this field that he went out into. It basically opens and ends how it opened. It's crazy. There's no character arc. What is going on here, man? I don't know. This was not my cup of tea, guys. This was not interesting to me by the end. I'll never find myself watching this film again. It's rated very high right now on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like an 84%, which is insane to me. I'm not gonna lie. This is listed as a comedy. I maybe laughed at one scene during this movie. The rest, I mean, I didn't relate to the humor in here or anything like that. This was definitely not a movie that was made for me, and I gotta be completely honest with you guys, because hey, that's what we do here. I'm an honest reviewer, and that is how I felt about this movie, guys. So I'll just go ahead and drop the rating for you guys for this film, for this movie review, and I'm gonna go ahead and give Funny Pages a 5 out of 10. It gets a 5 out of 10, man. I know some of y'all may be upset about that. I apologize. I hope you liked this movie a lot more than I like this movie. Yeah, A24 Studios, I typically say that their films don't miss. That's something I always say in an A24 Studios, A24 Films video, but I feel like this is one of the very rare times that they missed. I think this is a miss. I didn't like this film, and that's it, guys. So those are my thoughts on this film. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you don't know what I do on Demigod A24, do commentaries, reactions, and reviews. So if you're interested in that, you're in the right place, man. Hit subscribe, hit the like button. I drop multiple videos a week on the channel, so you can expect that of me. And if you don't already know, I am the Demigod, the chosen one here on Demigod E&T, and I'm out of this thing, man. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.